everybody. Yeah. Hey, Krusty the Clown. I feel like Krusty. It's March 24th, 2021, 12 noon. We've got the guest here, Craig Fisher, who was a guest a zillion years ago as well. Ernie Marino, who likes to talk. And I hope someone who's going to stir things up, Amy Miller, okay?
The introvert.
Famous Amy Miller. She's got her famous background there with her with the cup. The nasty background, but you look so friendly today, and I kind of like your hair.
I feel friendly today. I've been watching a lot of Brad Mondo videos in quarantine, so I cut and colored my own hair.
I don't even know who Brad Mondo is, and neither does my audience, so let's not go into
they
it.
Might.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to talk about Craig. I've been figuring out how to Craig, I'm going to make a point of this during the interview. He used to be an agency recruiter. That's when I met him, right?
Correct.
But now he's got, your company is Talent Media Live. Am I right about that?
Close. It's TalentNet Media.
TalentNet Media. It's too complicated, okay?
And TalentNet Live is the website
conference.
And the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let me thank Craig. You know, I'm wrecking the show already, but he moved the show to video, okay? He made us go on his unconference on video. Everybody liked it, so I like it too. That's why we're here. Thank you, Craig. Okay.
It's better.
What's your website for your company?
TalentNetLive.com or TalentNetMedia.com. It all goes to the same place.
Okay. TalentNetMedia.com. And he's a consulting firm. Hi, Michael G. Cox. He's a consulting firm for recruiting departments. Is that right?
That's right. I help recruiting departments solve recruiting problems, tech problems, recruiting structure, and talent attraction. We do recruitment marketing and employer branding, all that stuff.
Okay. I was going to, you did a good job. I was going to tell him, I was listening to one of his other podcasts, and I listened to double the speed, and I can't do that here. So I was going to tell him to introduce himself at double the speed, but he did it anyway. I didn't have to worry about that. Okay, let's get right into it. The big thing is, I was on your blog, and you've got a giant picture of you and your dog, and the dog is in front of you. The dog is featured, okay? Is that what we should do if we want to market ourselves? I assume the message there is, hey, I'm a friendly guy, but I'm not weird. I've got a dog, a big dog, with a big tongue. Is that it?
Yes, that is it. So it's funny. it's people click on it. I mean, I track the stats, and yes, it gets people to my Instagram account where I want them to get to know me better.
Why do you want to be on Instagram?
Well, Instagram is a place you can be human, and it's also a place where I can multitask. I can post my personal stuff there, and it also works for business because I want business people to get to know me personally and feel like we're friends. Job candidates, employers, whatever. I want them to feel that friendly relationship with me right up front.
Okay, so Amy's always posting pictures of herself and her multitude of children on Facebook. I mean, I know them all.
Children and dogs. I'm on
nice
Instagram
looking,
for the dog pics.
I
That's
know
it.
her daughter's going to be a lawyer. I don't know what I don't know what the others do. Okay, but is that good for business? If she doesn't, I don't know if you post those on LinkedIn or anywhere.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Occasionally you do the kind of personal pic on LinkedIn when you're kind of being vulnerable. And I think there's kind of a negative connotation now to too much vulnerability.
Okay, but you're talking about Instagram. Should we be posting?
No, I'm talking about LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm switching back. We were talking about
right.
Instagram. If what should a recruiter be posting on Instagram? I'm not there at all, really. But personal stuff, is that what you're saying? So they can imagine they know us?
If you listen to Instagram experts, if you want to really grow your Instagram account, you pick one niche and you stick to it and do that all the time and do it almost every day. So if you're going to post quotes about recruiting or employment or job search, you do just that. If you listen to the Instagram experts, I don't have time for that. I automate some of that to my other Instagram accounts, the TalentNet Live account and the Inside Talent podcast account. But for me, I'm going to mix it up myself. I'm going to do some personal stuff and some stuff about careers and job seekers and projects that I've done. It's just all the stuff. So
if I consider you to be an expert,
Mhm.
okay,
Yep.
and you just told me, don't worry about what the other experts say, just have a grab back. Is that okay?
Right.
Anybody else? Is anybody else on Instagram? Amy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there, but I'm mostly just there for dog pics. Like, I don't even put my kids on there a lot because I want to respect their privacy, and they don't necessarily want to
You
be
don't
affiliated
respect
with
their
their crazy
privacy. I know.
mom. I do a
I
little
know.
bit.
I know.
A
That's
little
what it
bit.
is right there.
You don't want to be on with their mom.
I make sure everything is cleared with the children before I post it.
You know
But
what? I can't get
I'm
over
just there
this.
for the dog
I'm
pics.
looking down at you. You're down
Yeah.
there, but when it comes
Down
up
there.
in the recording, you're going to be over here. I
there,
don't know
be over
why.
there.
It's
I
just
don't know.
looks
The
stupid.
youngest one in curls.
Yeah.
It definitely has a.
It's a very,
Michael,
very.
I'm in the
Michael
middle on
G.
my
Fox.
screen. I got kind of an
Michael G.
Alice vibe
Fox.
going.
Forget the Brady Bunch for a second, okay? It's an old joke already. Are you on Instagram, Michael G. Cox?
I am, but you got to be careful, animal. If you're gonna do it, if you do it, people might think you're human.
I know. Okay, but what do you put there? Okay, you're an expert. What do you put there? Amy's dogs. Craig's
I don't know.
everything because he's lazy. He just told. Didn't want to use that word. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm putting everything there. Fuck you, everybody. I don't listen to experts. Okay, that's
Busy.
what the expert tells us.
That's
Don't
right.
worry about them.
Yeah.
I have to control myself. You know, Jerry used to come on and he didn't like any swearing, and I don't either. Go ahead, Mike. What do you put on?
Yeah, I'm looking at my Instagram account right now, and it's
doesn't even
mostly
know.
kids.
He doesn't even know. Okay, Ernie, do you have Instagram?
I just said that.
No,
It's
I don't.
mostly my kids and stuff that I've put on the grill, some barbecue
Okay,
stuff.
and who's it for? Is it for your potential clients and your candidates, or is it just
No.
for your family?
Oh, well, potential clients and I guess candidate, anybody can look at it and see that
Absolutely.
Okay, but do you
I'm
promote
human.
it? Do you promote it anywhere?
No.
I-
On Instagram.
I actively connect with prospects, customers, job candidates on Instagram all the time.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm doing this right.
Okay, let me ask a question then.
I
have
posted about
never-
this. This was big news right here. One of my clients sent me this.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good.
What is it?
A candle or what?
It's a candle. Candle.
Woo!
You light it at
One of
night
those.
and it helps to sleep. It's for sleeping.
Oh, okay. Okay. Hold on a second. Craig, I have never promoted this show on LinkedIn. Should I be doing that, or is it just, a little too crazy?
You might want
No.
to change the link name.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Best? You don't
No,
like
you
that?
absolutely should be promoting this show on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a new events feature where you can literally create an event for each show and invite everyone everyone in your network, like up to 500 a day or something, to the event, to the show. And then you'd have to figure
I
out
just
a way
want these
to get them
people
a
here.
link.
I don't want them. Okay.
Yeah, he could get into double-digit listenership.
That's right.
Ernie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Ernie, are you on Instagram?
I think I signed up for it, but I don't use it and I don't go to it.
Okay.
I do- LinkedIn
Ernie,
and Facebook.
you don't really care. He doesn't give a shit about sorry. He doesn't care about social media. Am I right about that? You don't really care. Am I?
No, I mean, I guess not. No, but I'm on Facebook a lot. Because I like the groups.
Okay, the groups. Okay, but I mean, like last week we had a recruiter, and she does all the. She doesn't even have she didn't even have a LinkedIn profile. Like her name was she had an initial. Kendra, Chris Russell, or assume that's Rich Rosen. Anybody else want to talk about Instagram? No. Okay, Amy. Anything else you want to add? You look like you want to say something. I love this where I can see the
That's
people.
just how my face looks.
It doesn't look
It
resting
always
bitch.
looks like it wants to say something.
It doesn't look bitchy if that's what you're worried about.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll work on it.
Okay.
So can I say one more thing about Instagram before we get off that
Yeah,
subject?
go ahead.
So I want to know everything I can about Instagram, all the ins and outs, how to use stories, how to use, movies and everything you can, because I advertise on Instagram for things and I help my employers advertise for jobs and things like that on Instagram. So I want to master it. And it's a very effective tool to recruit people like nurses, for instance. I mean, that's one of the best places in the world to find nurses. So there's use cases for it. For
What
sure.
kind of
Craig,
pictures
can
do
I
yours
ask
look
you a
like?
question? Say there's a new recruiter starting out.
Yep.
What would you advise them in terms of using Instagram or branding or however you want to help them?
Yeah. Okay. So put photos of your family and your dogs, and then you doing your recruiting work, and show some snippets of code that you use in order to find candidates and things like that. Sort of this grab bag of things that, customers can latch onto, and then post things for job candidates as well, because employers love that.
I
See,
think too, there's a
had-
variable though. Go ahead, Kendra.
Oh, I was just going to say, my Instagram has my own name on it and it's private. So I don't want to be stalked. I don't want weird boyfriends from Russia. I don't want that shit because they can look me up and find me.
I
But
can look you up and find you
actually use
anyway.
it. I use it. Yeah, they watch the animal tapes over and over again. I use it for my research.
They're
because,
watching me, baby. Come on.
I'll tell you an interesting fallout of having your picture all over the place. I have been used in multiple schemes where people take my picture. It's not people, it's like Russian syndicates or something.
Mhm.
Take my picture and start campaigns towards people that I know, and start these romances and things like that. Cindy Davis and I are going to do a podcast about it because it's happened to her.
I get
Wow.
10 of those a week where they look like lonely men 50 plus.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna fall all over myself for them. But no,
I resemble that
I get none of those.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
one even
hey,
You're
used my
too
kids.
mean, Amy.
I
I'm
had to take that one
complaining.
to the
I'm just
police.
saying I never get those.
Yeah,
You would
can
if
you
your
please share some of
robot
those
didn't
best
clear 'em
practices there,
out.
Kendra?
am I going to get in trouble because you guys are targeting these Russians? Okay,
No.
We didn't
doesn't
notice
sound
the
too-
Asian
Okay.
love. No
got the
Chinese
hat.
bots.
Okay, okay.
No, but I think there's a variable though, seriously. Like I'm way more active on Twitter, but that's where my audience is. Engineers are a lot more active on Twitter than LinkedIn and Facebook or Instagram. So that's where I spend most of my time and probably have the biggest network,
Okay.
But I was
active
gonna say,
network.
I
We
was
got
trying to say that
engineers on
my-
Twitter, nurses on Instagram. Any other niches like that?
Who's
TV
on
stations?
Pinterest? Are we still doing that? Are we still
Oh.
recruiting on Pinterest?
I gotta
No.
tell you, she persecuted one of my guests, and he swore he'd never come back on the show after he
Left
talked
the
to her
industry.
about Pinterest. Yeah.
But Michael, to answer your question, the
Or
AV
TikTok.
people hang out on Instagram a lot. So
Who?
Crestron, audio-visual nerds.
You know
Yes.
what?
um,
You need some
Creatives.
audio, okay? You sound like you're talking through a towel, okay?
Hey,
I
by the
hear
way,
it
I
just
just
fine.
found
Don't want to make you feel bad. I'm just letting you know.
I
Hiding
just
yourself
found
from the
Kendra's profile on Instagram, and I can understand why she's getting all that action.
Whoa! Well, she's got an interesting name,
Woo.
Kendra. You know, she's the only I've heard of
How are
other
you doing?
girls with that name. Okay, okay.
And Michael G. Cox, I gotta tell you, I am absolutely convinced that John Hamm is following me. I believe it. It's the real John Hamm.
Okay. Wait a second, Craig.
Post pics or it never
I
happened.
understand with the pictures of you barbecuing and the dogs and the family, but when you say post job stuff as well, or so what do you do? Post pictures of yourself on the phone? Is that what you were saying? I don't understand.
No, occasionally I'll post a video snippet of myself, doing somebody else's podcast or webinar or something like that, where I've got a poignant 15-second clip that might be very helpful for job seekers to connect with employers, something like that.
Okay, so Michael G. Cox, he's a pro now of going on Loom and recording an introduction to the jobs he's working on and then inserting them in emails, okay?
Tell
So
anybody about
should
that.
he be posting those specific job pitches on Instagram?
I don't see why not. I mean, if you don't want to give all your secret sauce away, but then again, Michael G. Cox, if you give away the recipe, people are still going to hire you to bake the product.
Yeah, I thought that the rest of the recruiting world would catch on to this and it would die off, like get overused. I've been doing
Well,
this for
yeah,
like
you've
6 or
got-
7 years.
You've got Bomb and things like that starting to come into play, and it's kind of the same thing. It's easy to make a GIF or GIF, as you prefer.
GIF,
of your
GIF.
GIF.
It is
Forget
GIF.
GIF
that
is the
GIF.
peanut butter.
Is it
That's right.
GIF? Okay.
Of
I always mix
yourself,
that up.
as the snippet of your video, and click through to a video, and it works really well for getting answers on LinkedIn as well.
Yes,
Okay.
it's amazing.
Okay,
I
what
use
about-
that
Sorry, go ahead.
daily, all the time, every job that I'm working on, but it's
Yeah.
all in the DMs.
Okay. What about Clubhouse? You know, you're what about it?
So it's interesting. It is driving traffic to my Twitter and Instagram profiles every time I'm
Yeah.
moderating a session. because in Clubhouse, you get links with icons to Twitter and Instagram in your profile. And if you're on the stage as a moderator and speaker, people will follow you on Clubhouse and then click through to your Instagram and Twitter. And that's where I want them to go, because that's where my profile further states the kind of work that I do and who I do it for.
Okay, but how do you get a following on Clubhouse? Maybe you got 2 or 3 people on one of your, I've never been on it, one of your, Amy's on it already too. You're doing stuff.
Yeah, an early adopter or something.
Every time somebody invites you up on the stage, the rest of the audience will follow you. And
yeah, but okay, well then what do you have to do? Get to be buddies with someone who's got a big following already?
correct.
Is that?
Yes.
You need to invite Animal.
Yeah, you need to have something interesting to say once you get on stage, and you got to pay attention.
That's
for a
the hard
bit.
part.
Yeah, you got to pay
Never
attention
mind.
for a little bit to kind of see the cadence.
I'm out.
Okay,
And
so
you
are
gotta
you
remember to say,
recommending? Are you
"I'm not gonna talk
recommending?
anymore."
It doesn't sound like you're saying, yeah. If you're a recruiter, you should be on Instagram. Okay,
Yeah.
I've seen the most enthusiasm. Amy is really enthusiastic about Twitter. You just
And
said you want
Pinterest.
yeah, yeah.
And Pinterest.
Okay. She's pulling your leg about that, okay? Just in case someone doesn't have any history here, okay? And Craig, you're also saying though, I don't know, I was surprised to hear it, that you want people to visit your Twitter account. You didn't say anything about Twitter before. Why do you want them on Twitter?
Well, okay, so Twitter is a really good channel for a lot of things. First of all, there's a lot of contact information that you can get from people's accounts on Twitter. Twitter is easy to search. I have formulas in IFTTT that actually create spreadsheets in Google Sheets for every new follower that I get. And so I'm able to mass communicate and build lists. And these are the types of activities that employers should be doing if they're smart to understand who their audience
Hold on.
is.
I don't have a mailing list for the show. I've never had one. I could actually build a list from Twitter. I've got
Mhm.
on paper 25,000 followers. If 2,000 of them are live still, I would be surprised, okay? Because I've been
Yeah.
on a long time. I could use IFTTT to build a mailing list, are you saying? Or what kind of-
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is it something you
Craig?
could explain? One sec, Ernie. Is it something you could explain at double speed in a minute, or is it something you should tell us about another time?
Yeah, it's real easy. And there are a couple of platforms like IFTTT, but it just gives you ways to connect your social accounts to things like Google Sheets or Google Docs or email addresses, whatever you want. And you can get a formula for building an alert when somebody follows you, or just putting that person into a spreadsheet with their Twitter handle. And so then you can use that to advertise if you want.
Craig, do you do this for somebody?
I do it for lots of people.
You do
So
it
I
for
work
me?
for multiple.
Would you do it for Ernie, please?
I know. No, I guess what I'm getting at is when you're on your different medias,
Uh-huh.
is that driving business to you? I mean,
Yes.
are you actually getting business, or are you just
Yes.
there?
I have no outbound sales strategy at all. It's 100% inbound. All the work comes to me.
And I guess I'm asking because people are always trying to figure out how to do this stuff, but don't know how to do it. And you're the man that knows how to do it. And
That's
so
right.
someone goes to you and say, hey, can you help me out here? Can you set me up? Can you build me up?
Yeah.
Give me a brand.
Yeah.
You're the
So-
guy to do it.
Yeah. So I get asked to do this
Did
when
he
I'm
pay
doing
you, Ernie?
when I'm
I
doing
got one of those
employer
bottles too.
branding activities. I get asked to do this for companies executives a lot. Like they need a presence, they need some, regular posting, things like that. What they really need is a good admin. But short of that, I can get them set up, get them started, teach them how to, do things in real time themselves if they need to. And I do it for a lot of kind of HR tech startups as well. I'm an advisor to a lot of HR tech startups.
Okay, and on Twitter, if those guys, anybody watching this wants to find them, it's at Fish Dogs. Okay,
That's
it's easy. Fish Dogs. Don't ask what it means. Okay, I noticed that one of my sponsors is actually here, and I got to tell you guys, our sponsorship is kind of in hiatus. I hadn't billed them for 2 years. I didn't know what to do, and I sent out some emails. Nick is the only one. Nick Livingston from Honeit is the only one who replied and said, someone has actually mentioned the Recruiting Animal show. Actually, I got.
Wait, was it in a good thing, or like because of I heard you? Never will I ever. No.
I will make the claim that I got Amy interested in Hire Tool, okay? But nobody
Yeah, I
from
think that's fair.
PC Recruiter and Hire Tool, they've never said that they've ever got any benefit from advertising the show. But Nick actually sent me an email, and he did. So let me do an ad for Hone It.
Checks in the mail, Nick.
HONEIT.com. Hone It is a website where you can interview your candidate. You both just call into it, and it records the whole interview, turns it into a searchable transcript that you can send to everybody on the hiring committee. It's all encrypted. And here's the thing, it's in video as well now, audio, video, transcript. But when you come to a key question, you just press a button and then you talk to the candidate. And then when you're finished that section, you press another button. It creates a clip. You can send it to the hiring manager. You don't even have to understand what the candidate is saying, but the hiring manager should. And there you go. Hone It, HONEIT.com. Nick, do you have anything you want to add? You don't have to say anything, okay? But I see your name is there, okay?
Animal.
Okay, there he is. Do you want to say anything about Hone It before I've
Thanks, man. No, we've gotten lots of, I'd say lots of signups from the show. So yeah,
several lots. Okay,
several
I can
lots.
count that on one hand.
Number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
So
get back to.
I gotta drop in something about Hone It real quick. I hear from people, Nick, who have been using and trying Hone It that they think it would be really good for recording their podcasts.
We're talking to Chad and Cheese about something like that. We've been working with them a little bit.
Of course you are. Let's talk later.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, look who opened up his screen. Rich. He put on some clothes and decided to show his face. Okay. Does anybody, Ernie asked a good question. Anybody else have a question for Craig before I move on? Anybody? Okay.
Where did you dig up this picture of fish dogs that you posted on Twitter? Where were he 12 when he took that?
I told you.
Wow.
I think
That's
I was
his first video.
Yeah, this video 2009, so I was probably 2008 maybe. So I was probably 40.
You know, it was 2010. Okay.
Was it?
Yeah.
You
You didn't look 40.
If anybody knows,
you didn't look 40 there. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Okay, so you were famous for a while as one of the tool guys, right? You had the cool tools show. Any tools? People love hearing about tools. Any tools you want to tell us about?
Yeah, all the tools that I've been playing with recently are tools that help kind of take any bias out of resumes and job descriptions. So this is whether it works or not. Okay, let's say whether it works or not. It is a big request from employers right now. How do we get bias out of our process? And so there are tools. There are tools like All Sorter. All Sorter is a good tool that will remove pronouns and
what is it?
Remove. It's All Sorter. ALLSORTER.
Take out pronouns?
Yes.
Not for me. Sorry. Go ahead.
Here's the thing: all of these tools do work because most of these clients are really just looking for the ability to say we invested in doing
exactly.
Really?
It's a checkbox.
See, yeah. I'm stupid. I didn't get it.
Whether it works or not.
That's right.
Check.
Don't get into the details here, Amy, please.
But I am interested in studying the efficacy of these things because in the future we'll be able to say, yeah, this worked, this didn't, but we'll know more. It's like this is new territory, really.
I read a bunch of your articles, okay, before the show started. Here's your big shtick, On the one hand, you'll write an article saying that people don't mind talking to robots. That's fine with them. Then you'll have 5 articles saying, but you know what? AI and all this automation, it's terrible. Personalization is what counts. High touch, not high tech, okay? Pick up the phone. I'll quote you. I wrote these things down. Okay, so what is it? Is it tech or is it talk?
Yes. You want me to be concise?
I like that, Animal. Tech or talk. That's clever.
So no, yeah, it has to be both, right? You have to pick up the phone, you have to have conversations, but there are a ton of little gaps in a candidate's journey where they don't get a call because there's no information to give. And so at that point, a little bit of tech can really help a candidate feel better.
You've lost me. I don't know what you're saying.
I agree with you. That's a good point.
So there's huge drop off right
Yeah.
now in the time between a candidate interviews with a hiring manager and the time they hear from a recruiter after that. And that's their lowest point in their candidate journey. And so if you can't speed that up or at least give them some communication, they're likely to take another job. There's fall off between offer and start date right now, like
Gotta keep
crazy.
the flame hot.
That's right.
So what happened? Hold on.
Keep them warm.
I just want to point something out for Brandy.
Hate that.
Nick has
Strategy.
brandable hair. Okay. Look at
I'm a little
that.
jealous for one. I got to tell you,
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Rich is jealous.
I'm a little jealous. I got to tell you, I am. I've never had hair like that.
Take
God.
that with your $1 million a year.
Yeah. As I can go buy it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, hold on. I know
He's
maybe
also a
the
customer.
candidates can relate to him better than they'd feel jealous if he looked like Nick. Okay. But hold on a second.
Here,
Could you,
it's
could
better.
you
Here we
spell
go.
that out?
There we
There you go.
There you go. Now it's the same thing. It's just under a hat. Looks just like.
That's Dean DaCosta.
Craig, what did you just say? I didn't understand it. Maybe Amy or Michael G. Cox or somebody can mansplain
There you
it.
go. See, we're like
Okay.
twins. There we
Somebody,
go.
you want me to mansplain it? Is
Yes,
that what I
that's your
just heard?
specialty. Go
That'd be
ahead
awesome.
there.
Do I need to send you the flow chart again?
All right.
What did he say? What did he say? He said you interview somebody, then there's a gap. So what should you be
Yeah.
sending out? What should you should automate messages?
A good,
to
a
that
good
person?
example would be like what I heard somebody call follow-up Friday. If you're interviewing
Yeah,
somebody,
Stacy.
if you're interviewing somebody and nothing's happening because a hiring manager isn't doing what they're doing, maybe an automation on Friday to everybody that you're talking to that you have in the pipeline that would go out and say, hey, nothing's happening. Let me know if you need anything, but just keep
Yeah.
in touch.
Right.
Keeping you
So
up.
it's like
No-
a page out of being an agency.
Yeah.
Everybody you got in any kind of a pipeline, call them.
No
Or email
news is good news.
I think part of it, candidates just don't even know how many stakeholders are involved in making a decision and how long that can take internally. So sometimes just feedback loop there on, hey, candidate, hiring manager enjoyed the conversation. They're talking to a few more folks this week and next week, before we make a decision, and just kind of give them a little bit of a timeline because candidates are just thinking it's either a yes, no, and it's not always that simple, right?
But
It's
if you're-
like, it's not always that simple.
if you're working at scale, if you're a recruiter that's carrying 50 plus recs, and I see that a lot right now, you need some tools to help you. I mean, there's tools like Paradox or Alio, which is now owned by HireVue, that will have human sounding conversations with your candidates, even if it's just to say, hey, no news is good news, hang in there. We'll be right back with you as soon as possible. Like that
Yeah.
sort of thing makes a huge difference.
I mean, even a one-line email for an update
Yeah.
is an update.
And that's
Right? It doesn't have to be a fancy
automatable
tool.
as well.
It could be a
That's
so you
not
one-line
haven't
the
been
impression I
forgotten.
got.
So,
from
hey,
your article.
animal.
But it would be better if it was recorded, huh? Nick?
Video.
We think sound bites are the future, right? So,
Well, you do video now too, though, right?
it's less about the medium. It's more just about removing the he said, she said, right? Recruiter talks to a candidate tells you a great story or a great explanation or a great example. And then a recruiter types a write-up trying to explain what the person said. We're saying, no, just share the soundbite of what the person said.
Okay, yeah, I did your ad already. I don't know if you
I'm
heard
sorry.
it.
People don't know what that means.
Gonna cost you extra.
Animal.
Oh no, let me say
Another
something
good-
first before I forget. I got a problem with my memory. Okay, something interesting I read on one of Craig's articles related to what he said before. You know how we as recruiters send out people for the interviews, then they start dragging their feet. That's why you have to automate these. Hi, we remember you. You're still, you're still in consideration. We haven't forgotten. You're not in outer space. He says these idiots put in employee referral plans, and their employees refer good candidates, and they never get back. They never get back to them. They just drag their feet. Those stupid idiots. Am I right, Craig? That's a problem.
I've seen it a lot. I've seen, yeah, all the time. Candidates get referred, and it's almost like how a lot of recruiters treat applicants that come in through their career site. a lot of recruiters want to go search and find people, and the referrals and the applicants kind of get left behind a lot. And so you need sometimes some sort of automation to help put those people up at the top of the list, because referrals are gold.
Well, it happens in sales. People ignore their leads. Like you
That's
got
right.
BDRs, SDRs working on leads. They send the leads to the account executives, and then just it goes blank, and they disregard the lead.
Well,
Yeah.
and also for unique roles, I mean, if you're hiring 1,000 of one type of person, that's easy. People kind of understand what you're looking for. If you're hiring a specific product role or a technical role or a sales role, that's with like a lot of times, even people on the interview panel don't really know what the hiring manager is looking for, right? Like maybe they have the job description, but again, how good is a job description of articulating kind of what a hiring manager really wants?
Not
So,
good.
I mean, I think there's a huge disconnect there, even within interview teams and interview panels, of like, are they even assessing someone for the same?
You know what?
role
That's
of
what the
hiring
guy,
manager?
Danny Chait from Greenhouse said as well. He said he's the first one who clued me in that corporate recruiting processes are a shambles. Amy, I think you're the only corporate recruiter here. Is it true?
Great.
You'll bring
No.
in a candidate, and these
Yeah.
they'll just haul somebody in who wasn't prepared to interview
Uh-huh.
the person, hasn't even seen the resume.
No.
Is it
Nah.
true that happens?
No, that doesn't happen in my world. Absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, and
because
is it
she
because-
rules it with a whip and a
Yeah,
chair.
that's what I was. The next question is that
I have a
because
magic wand.
and they want
No,
to
we
do
don't.
that?
We don't do that. We actually have a pre-brief before the interview where everybody gets together and the hiring manager explains, this is what I'm looking for. This is what's beyond the job description. These are the things I need you and you and you to focus on. And this is why this candidate fits at least at this point, why we think they fit. So no, if you have a process that mitigates for that, this should never happen. And if it's happening, it's squarely on the fault of the hiring manager, and maybe they shouldn't be in charge of building a company if they can't get that part right.
Okay. But what about our agency guys? I mean, you're inside, you can go around with your baseball bat or whatever you use
Damn right.
and throttle these guys. What about us who are on the outside?
Love.
Should we talk to the hiring manager and say, who's going to be interviewing and how much are you, like, I always, get the process, but I don't say, how much are you preparing this person? I mean, are you doing interview prep with the interviewers? Should we be checking that?
It'd be great. That'd be the ideal if you could do it. But
Do you do it?
no, these companies don't let you.
Sometimes-
years ago, you
sometimes
used
they
to
do.
influence the interviewers on the panel. You could influence them. You could talk to them more. You could actually give them insight and kind of plant some seeds with them about these candidates. You can actually help give them questions to ask.
Yeah,
'Cause I
but
don't know
that's
about you, like,
but the
I do
hiring
find
manager
most of
can
these-
the hiring
most of
manager
these
can do
guys
that too.
don't
Can you
understand
make sure
anything
the
you're most of the way. Hang on. Like most of these guys that are in the interview panel, aside from the hiring manager himself, they have no idea what to even ask.
So Rich, I've got a suggestion for you on this, and this
Sure.
works. Okay. I make friends with all the hiring managers on all social media channels, if possible, right? And then I'll create a video and put it on LinkedIn saying what hiring managers should do better and tag all of them, right? So tell them you need to walk through the process like the Blue Angels training for a test flight, literally step by step. Everything needs to be pinned down. Make that video, put it out on LinkedIn, and tag all your hiring managers,
I love
and
it.
then they'll get the message.
Well, you know what it is? It's and it's a great idea. It's the hiring managers are one thing. It's all the other underlings that are also part of it.
Tag them too. Make friends
well,
with everybody.
Yeah, no.
How do you
listen,
make
I'm-
friends? What does making friends mean?
You just connect with them on LinkedIn.
yeah,
That's how you
connect with them on
start.
LinkedIn.
Then you find their Twitter
Connect?
account
Is
from
that
their
making a
LinkedIn
friend?
contacts. Yeah,
Then
sure.
you send them dog pics on Instagram.
Yes, then you send them
Great,
dog
yeah.
pics on Instagram. Absolutely. Fish, dogs. It's there for a reason.
Okay, now I could add something.
So on brand.
Okay, you could make a video or an audio, but I would suggest a video on Hone It or on Loom, like Michael G. Cox does, and you could send that in an email to the hiring manager and say, look, send this out to everybody who's doing interviewing, and you could prep them directly. Am I right, Nick Livingston?
That's true. But then
Well, I woke him up. Sorry, I'm giving you a plug.
That would
Sorry,
be
type
true, but
an
then you
email.
get the corporate recruiter that would be upset that you went around her.
Oh,
Not
tag the
really.
corporate
Oh my
recruiter as well.
God.
Be the
Oh
expert.
my God.
Be the expert.
Yeah,
Be the
that's how I
expert, but
spend
that
my
thing will
day.
subscribe.
Being mad at agency
recruiters can
recruiters.
do is kind of prep prep their
Amy,
candidates
you are
really
not
well,
the norm.
right?
And-
Like we're seeing customers like prep their candidates really well by telling them, like doing debrief calls with candidates who have interviewed and asking them how it went, asking them what questions were asked, learning, capturing interview insights from that candidate who interviewed, and then they can share those insights with the next candidate before the interview to prep them.
Okay.
So,
Okay. In
you know,
fact,
there's a,
Ernie wrote about debriefing. Am I right about in a comment on Facebook the other day? You gave a bunch of steps, a bunch of questions that
Oh
you asked.
yeah, I do remember doing
Well,
that.
I have to remember for you now. Okay. Well, I'm giving you an opportunity. If you'd like to talk about debriefing for a minute, or Ernie, if that's a specialty of yours, go ahead.
No, it's not debriefing. Just sit down, and I think the biggest thing you need to find out is you debrief them for how the interview went, and then you debrief them for how you should prepare others as they're going to go forward with the same interview, to find out what the problems are, what they're asking. The one thing I found out, that when a candidate tells me, hey man, I aced it, they've never aced it at all. I'll get that phone call, says, oh man, that dude's
Dude,
a
I
dog.
killed
Don't
it.
ever-
Oh no.
Don't ever send him to me again. Don't send him to anybody.
What's that called?
Well,
The
but
Dun.
it's
What is it? The Dun.
Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah, the dumbest
Yeah.
people think they're the smartest, isn't
Yeah,
it?
pretty
Yeah.
much something like that.
Yeah,
No,
you
but I
know.
think it's interesting that we're so quick to like put the fault on these stupid interviewers and stupid hiring managers. Like, are we really working with that many people that we can't trust to do their jobs? That's
Yes.
crazy to me.
Yes.
That is
Nailed-
crazy to me.
you nailed
I
it.
feel really
It
bad
depends on-
that
it depends
that's
on the size of the company, though. If you got a small company
yeah.
and people aren't used to interviewing, a lot of people go into interviewing
I could see
thinking
that.
they have to find a reason why not to hire this guy, find
Yeah.
fault with him.
Okay.
The
That's fair.
problem with
And-
hiring managers is they're not trained in interviewing,
Right.
right? And they're also not trained in managing most of the time. Hiring managers are not good at two things, managing and hiring most of the time. They're in their current job
But at
because they were
least they're
good at their old
consistent
job.
on those 2 points.
Yes, exactly. You
across the
have to
board.
help them. Also, they've got
Yeah,
budgets.
Hey, guess who
I
found
agree
the
with
gel,
helping
by the
them.
way?
They've got budgets, agendas, quotas, and they've got projects that have to get done. And so they're going to do the things the way they
Getting cut in
know,
2 weeks.
and hardly at all with the way the company wants.
You
And
know,
many-
We need
many
Gergely
companies-
back on here to talk about this
yeah,
and
I was gonna
defend
say
the
that.
hiring
Yeah,
managers.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Please.
They have many companies that don't even have an internal recruiter.
Yeah.
Thank
If they
God.
don't, and if they don't
Sure.
have it, they don't have somebody that can, like you're doing, putting their arm around it and saying, this is mine and this is how you're going to do it.
There's a
But
lot
I
of
think that's
small
where
tech
you come
companies
in
like
as an
that.
agency recruiter, right? Like you should
No,
be
but
basically
then
an
it all depends
extension
on
of
if you're-
them
It all
as
depends on the
their
HR
partner.
Yeah.
No,
No?
but it depends on the HR manager and how they are, and
Well, it
whether
depends on the
you're
hiring
their
manager in
favorite
general.
recruiter or not.
Well,
whether-
and if the hiring managers are all engineers, you can't tell them anything anyway. They think they know everything.
No,
but
you
if
have
you're
to
from an
show
agent-
them data on a spreadsheet. That's the only way that they're going to understand it. But
Correct.
yeah,
Nobody
They
got
will,
time
they-
for that.
Just let me
Exactly. You're
say.
on a
Let me
contingent
just say
search, you
one
don't have
thing.
time to
Hold on.
build
Just
things.
one
But
thing.
the other way to do
I,
it,
I really like my hiring managers, and I think they're really good at it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
decide.
But if you're
promoting
an
Seems like a
yourself.
small
She's
world
the
you
only girl
live
they
in there,
talk
Amy.
to.
But Ernie, if you want to get around this, Ernie, one way that'll help from an agency perspective is ask, in the rare occasion, ask them if you can sit in on the interviews. You're not going, you know, I do it all the time. I'm internal, but just say, look, I'm just going to be a black icon in the corner. I just want to listen. And the way you get buy-in that will sort of bypass or champion you to the HR manager is, chances are good those hiring managers, they're going to ask questions they should not be asking.
Oh,
I
yeah.
guarantee it. And once they do that, you can say, hey guys, look, let me give you some suggestions here, and then tell the HR manager, hey, look, I'm sitting in on these. I'm doing you a big help because they're asking, how old are you? Are you expecting a baby? What religion are you?
How much are you
Etc.
currently making?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and
Alan, you bring a good point, because what you're saying is exactly right. Your automatic reaction as a recruiter is to say, I don't know if I could do that. And I found that when you do crazy things, they'll say yes sometimes. I mean, the other day I asked somebody, you know, I noticed I need to do a replacement, but I noticed you're posting it all over the place. So am I going to find the same candidates or what? Maybe I should just jump in and look at all your candidates from all your postings. And I was talking to the president of the company. He goes, that's a great idea. Why don't you do it? And I said, okay. He goes, I'll get off the phone and I'll have the HR person call you. And boom, the HR person called me. I got all of their candidates,
Yeah, man.
and they said, here, you do it. And she said, thank you. She goes,
Yeah,
thank you for helping me.
and the other thing about
That's what
sitting
Amy
in
was
on
saying.
interviews.
Look, I just wanted to, we're over.
No,
halfway
you were
through
on
the
a
show.
commercial, for God's sake.
I want to introduce
Yeah,
the
I have to
band.
leave in
I want
5
to
minutes,
introduce the
so-
band. We've got so many famous people here, and I haven't really given them any introduction. Even Amy, I forgot to mention her story.
I can't believe it.
Oh my God.
She's selling
Not
t-shirts.
paying my bill.
She's selling t-shirts at recruiters. Is it recruitingInYogaPants.com? How can I forget? And she
RecruitingInYogaPants.com.
sells
How could you
t-shirts with
forget?
captions on it,
Hats,
Yeah,
coffee
okay.
mugs.
Yeah, okay. There you
She's
go.
authentic as
actually sell
well.
yoga
I can
pants?
say yes. No, she's in yoga pants everywhere I see her. We've done
Everywhere.
conferences
Right
on
now,
the same
wearing
stage
that
yoga
up right
pants.
now.
where she's in yoga
Stand up.
pants.
You
Okay.
want
Ernie, the famous
See
Ernie
my
Marino,
yoga
the
pants?
famous food recruiter. He's not selling
Yoga
anything. He
pants.
doesn't have
I'm in
a
boxers, right?
URL to share with us. Stephen O'Donnell from Glasgow just joined. You want to tell us he's in you're doing something similar to Craig. You're setting people up for audio and video on for recruiting. Am I right about that? Is what you're doing now, Steve?
We can't hear you. You're on mute.
You're
Steve.
mute.
Okay. That's not a good
He's
advertisement.
an audio video.
That's not a
That's
good
terrible.
advertisement. Recruiter
I was fanning about with other things. Yeah, I'm doing some work with PH Creative just now, setting all their team up to do audio video stuff.
Okay, if somebody wants to find you, where do they go?
Go on
Go to
liveevents.com.
hell.
What events?
Live
Go on
events.
Live.
Liveevents.com. Recruiteral.com, the best construction recruiter in the world. Okay. TheSalesRecruiter.com, Michael G. Cox. Hone it, HONEIT.com, Nick Livingston. And
Text in the mail.
Rosen.
I love you. I mean it.
What is it? Cornerstone? What is it?
CornerstoneSearch.com.
.com. And our famous guest today, Craig, not Craig Russell.
Here,
Do you
here.
remember Craig
Oh,
Russell?
Fisher.
Do you remember? No. Do you remember Craig Russell? The drag
Chris
guy?
Russell.
Okay.
Chris Russell.
Is that
Not
Chris
Craig.
Russell?
Yeah, he's
Chris.
here.
Okay. Craig
The other,
Fisher.
as we all know him, the other Craig.
Yeah. Okay. Fish at Fish Dogs. TalentNet
Net
Media.
live or talentnetmedia.com
TalentNetmedia.com.
or
Don't give me all
fishdogs.com
this-
or
fishdogs.com.
craigfisher.info.
Oh, no, fishdogs.com. That's
Yeah.
it.
Got 'em all.
Okay. That's
a good one.
so easy. And
Yeah.
Kendra, I don't know if she can still
Love
hear
to see
us.
that GoDaddy
And Chris Russell,
yearly
Chris,
bill.
what's your website now? RecTech? Chris,
Bluehost.
Chris, what's your website?
There he is.
RecTechMedia.com.
What is it?
Speak
Tech
up.
Media.
Sell it,
Tech
baby. Sell
Media.
it.
Recruiting tech. RecTech.
RecTechMedia.com. Okay, who wants to ask Craig the next question about a recruitment marketing or anything else? Anybody? Anybody got a question or a burning statement to make? I got lots. Anybody else want to talk? Going once. Going twice. Come on. Okay. You
I
don't
have to hang up because I have an interview kickoff, but I just want to say that I've been a longtime follower and admirer of Craig, and I'm glad that we've met in person, and I think he would consider me a friend. So
You
I
look
do
so
indeed.
pretty today too. I have to tell you. Is that I know
I
that's
dressed
not-
up for you.
Okay.
I
thanks.
did.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you're
Amy.
welcome. Now that you're on video, like now I gotta like wash my face and stuff.
Oh my God,
It's a
I
lot.
just showered. Damn.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you guys.
See you
All right.
later. Craig.
Bye.
Okay, we got 15 minutes left.
Craig,
Craig, I'm
what-
just going to stick with something else though. You
Jesus.
you said emotional intelligence is a core competency that's so critical for recruiting and hiring success.
Mhm.
Artificial intelligence has no emotional intelligence whatsoever. And yet you've been telling us now that they work in tandem. I mean, there's going to be gaps where you can't be emotionally intelligent. You need your automation to be emotional. That's what you're telling us, right?
That's fact. Yeah. So artificial intelligence isn't really intelligent even. It's a decision tree that humans program in order to respond to questions and answers. And it kind of gets smarter the more answers you put in the database, but it's not intelligent, and it certainly can't empathize with a candidate. And so you need those human conversations in order to have a robust candidate journey.
Yeah. Okay. And that's something else in videos. You say what these candidates want to know is they don't want to see a day in the life on the job. They want to see people who've progressed inside the company so they understand the career journey. But isn't everything we hear today that you know, people aren't staying in companies that long. There really is no room for a candidate journey. It's almost like contract work. Am I
Well,
right or wrong about that?
That's true, but this is why videos and interviews with hiring managers is a good idea, because that's really who the candidate wants to hear from. They want to hear from the person who's done the job and then got promoted and is hiring for the job. And that person is going to be one of the people that stay at the company longer.
Okay, but that's the, you know, that's a very small percentage of the workforce.
Yeah, but you don't need all the workforce on
Yeah.
video. You need, you know, you're going to have 60 managers in a decent sized company. Get those people. You can't have all 3,000 people.
But let me throw out this question though. You know, that's an interesting point. You see a lot of 1 year, 2 years now. Before it used to be the guy with 24 years and the woman with 105 years. But how do you explain that?
I've
to
got
a hiring manager.
Oh yeah, it depends.
I've got an answer for that. I mean, you can't. Now people are viewing jobs as projects, and hiring managers know that. They've done enough interviewing. They understand that. They're not saying anymore that person's only got 6 months here and 1 year there. That's getting less and less.
Except you're talking to the president of the company who doesn't see that.
No, the president of the company has got to be educated. Absolutely. I mean,
it depends on the industry.
Economy. Yeah, that's true.
Totally industry dependent. I mean, if you're talking about tech and, I mean, correct me here, if you're talking about tech and IT, maybe a 1 to 2 year stints are reasonable. Or if, say, Michael G. Cox or Rich Rosen are dealing with mostly tech startup sales, you know, you have the guy that comes in to start to build the mountain. Then once the mountain's built, you need another guy in that same title to do the work. Look, in commercial construction, it's all about relationships. It is. It's probably one of the, I've never seen a more integrated networked community. So if you go bounce around, you better have a good reason. But that's in this industry. In other industries,
there are outliers.
So, yeah, I think there's.
I mean,
yeah, there's a direct correlation also, I think, between the point at which you start seeing a return on that massive hiring investment. So if it's a sales position, most individuals that are hiring, whether it be the person at the top or a sales manager, they're expecting an individual to stay on. They're hoping for that individual to stay on beyond that 12-month period. So if they see 6 months, 3 months, 10 months over and over again, they're going to get kind of skittish about moving forward with that.
Yeah,
candidate.
because your sales program isn't any better than anybody else's most of the time. You're not going to offer a candidate a better commission structure that won't ever change or better perks. They're all pretty much the same. You're absolutely right,
Yeah.
Michael. I just did a project.
The smart rep asked these clients the question of, hey, how has your comp plan changed over the years? Are people actually making more? Or are they making less?
Yeah. How many times has it changed in the last 6 months?
Well, if it changes, if your comp plan's changing in 6 months, you got a bigger issue, and you're not going to get.
Nobody's going to admit to that. Don't ever say it.
Yeah.
I started out in
you ask
sales. I've
every
been in
year.
sales for years. It's always changing.
Yeah, it's the comp plans change every year, but you know, I always ask the clients if when they push back on a guy that's moved every year, you ask them, hey, listen, what's your comp plan change? I mean, the guy that closed $2 million this year, did he make? You know, if he closed $2 million last year, would he have made more money or less money this year, making that same amount of money? No one wants to stay for a pay cut.
So, Rich, this is another opportunity for you to make a video to educate candidates, because nobody asked that. Only you asked that.
Well, I got another question then related to that. Nobody asks about severance pay. If you actually stay at a company and you move, you're giving up your severance pay, aren't you? Nobody. I was asked about that once, and I was shocked, and I had to look into it.
Not necessarily. If you get an offer to leave, like if the company is having a massive layoff, and if you're in a high enough position to get an offer to leave, you don't give up.
We're
your
not getting
severance
off.
at
We're
all.
talking about recruiting somebody who's got a job, right?
Oh, well, the severance isn't guaranteed most of the time anyway. And that candidate's going to stay there until they get fired or laid off in order to get that severance. And they generally don't want to do that.
Does anybody else ask about severance pay when they?
I don't think it's severance. I think it's more the bonus, like how close you are to the bonus.
Yeah.
Well, that can be
You're a month
offset by
away.
a signing on fee going to a new employer.
And
If
the
a new employer
relocate- and the
knows that you're walking
relocation
away
cost.
from, well, in the same way as you could be walking away from shares, share options.
Yeah,
It
So
depends if they
your
if
employer
they're
can
off-
make up for that in some way if they really want to hire you.
Yeah. By
Yeah,
the
if they
way,
have-
I did not confuse Craig Russell and Chris Russell. It's because you guys are Americans. There used to be a guy, a famous drag performer here named Craig Russell. Okay,
Easy mistake.
that's who I was.
Wasn't there a
talking-
basketball player as well?
I don't know. It's not such an odd name.
Bill
I don't
Russell?
think.
A high
Okay.
school.
Bill
Okay,
Russell was also.
We
a
got
famous
10
basketball
minutes.
player.
What should anybody think? Okay, you said ditch the resume. I was shocked, and I'm going to make you defend that. Ditch the resume.
I think resumes are outdated. Resumes should be more like a portfolio. It should not be your entire job history. It should be the highlights. And if you're
Isn't
doing
that what it is anyway?
no,
And you mean no chronological history?
So what do
No
you-
chronological? That's
No,
crazy talk.
I agree with Animal.
no.
Whoa!
Recruiters want the chronology. Recruiters want the chronology, definitely. What I'm saying
And
is
hiring managers.
but they rarely read it. They really only want to see the companies and how long you've been there. They really don't even
But don't you
read-
think, like I always look at tell these candidates, I'm like, clients want to see they don't care about all the crap you put on there. You got to boil it down to bullets and say for sales guys like us, like Mike and I, what you sold, who you sold, and how you did.
That's exactly right. You don't need a paragraph about your job at all because
Exactly.
unless it's full of keywords, the ATS isn't going to see it and
So it's
doesn't care about it, and it's not going to translate well anyway.
So it's a bullet point of accomplishments.
That's
That's
correct.
all it should be. Because no one reads it. You got 3 seconds, 6 seconds tops to read a
Yeah,
resume.
the traditional resume is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
In
to show
tech,
off
for
your-
instance,
what
no one
replaces it in
cares
your mind?
about.
And you know,
a
the other
summary.
thing too is everybody sends out the same resume to everybody. And you got
No, they don't.
well,
That's been
most people do. If you ask them, did you send this resume out to your 3 other employer
They do, but they shouldn't.
prospects? They'll say, yeah.
that's been changing.
No, people who are smart are learning that they should
I guess we
personalize a
do.
resume.
That's the
for
problem
job.
right there. Most people aren't smart.
I knew
I
that
we
was
all know.
coming.
People, can you explain the smart people? thing?
Yeah, and where do we find them?
I know that's true because Craig is a guy who deals with corporations, okay? And he disagreed with Amy. He said, these guys are not smart. If he's got the guts to say that, that means
Man.
something to me, okay?
On LinkedIn, you put that as a skill.
So hold up, hey Craig. So what's replacing the resume in your mind? We remove the antiquated equation from the antiquated resume from the equation. What replaces that I can consume quickly?
Yeah, no, it's the list of highlights in chronological order. What, just as Rich said, with what you sold, how much you sold.
That's a resume, okay?
that's-
Sorry,
it's not.
Craig. Let me
It's
tell
not.
you, that's a resume. That's a resume.
No, that's a
it is a
CV.
slimmed down resume. It doesn't have all the. It's a modern resume, is what I would call it for Craig. It's not the traditional. Let me, pontificate on all this great stuff I've done. Instead, I'm just going to show you the bulleted highlights.
Okay.
Yeah, it's half a page.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
then-
you don't have to
I
say
always
It's
anything.
an
wondered on-
achievement.
But then don't they
focused
want that related to a
resume.
company though?
I was wondering
Yeah.
on a resume
Put
when
links
you're
in there.
giving your sales figures out, is that not
Oh,
confidential
absolutely.
information?
The
Yeah,
more
that's
numbers, the
one of
better
the
for your
goals.
sales.
Yeah.
Get hush
Mhm.
hush.
I always tell you want your resume to be more numbers than words. I mean, without being a math problem.
That's right. With
I
no
got a question.
exposition.
No, I got a question. I have a
History,
question.
dates, titles, companies. that serves a purpose.
And
And wait
numbers.
for your own show.
Quantified, absolutely.
That's all Amazon
Yeah.
wants,
Yeah.
actually. If you've ever interviewed with Amazon, they really only want numbers.
And by the way, I'll have conversations with sales reps that'll say, I'm more than a resume. I actually posted about this because it happened to me last week, talking to a great candidate, and he says, wait a minute, okay, fine, I'll send you the resume, but I'm so much more than that. Absolutely. And then we get into the question. It's like, why do I have to answer all of these questions?
Yeah.
It's on my resume.
So I got recruited to a tech company in 2015 to be a TA leader and do their employer branding and recruitment marketing stuff. And I was a global leader, and they recruited me. They found me on Google because I came up high in search results for employer brand strategy, Dallas, Texas. They recruited me, and then they said, send us a resume. And I sent them an infographic. It wasn't a resume. It was an infographic about Craig, and they loved it. And I got the job. And so I'm just saying that there are
You
other
know what?
ways.
Yeah, but
Craig,
he's
you would
splitting
like-
hairs.
Craig, you know what you'd like? You ever see the site Who Knows?
yeah.
WhoKnows.com? They make an infographic about all your your stuff. It's like the modern resume, to your point.
Yeah, and it's
So-
cool.
I've got a question. What's the
Eye-catching.
difference between like a resume and a recruiter write-up?
My write-ups are four lines. So
Yeah.
And what does that say different than what a candidate should have said on their resume?
it just
Recruiter write-up is just the
Focus
facts,
on the
man.
numbers, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
focus
facts
on
and-
exactly what the client wants to hear.
A recruiter write-up is good. Yeah, it's good.
Good.
It's good, but
It's a
usually
bullet
it's a
point.
complement to the resume. You don't have to replace the info. You assume that certain information is already there in the resume. I got a question, and this is I just read it, and I won't have a chance to ask it again necessarily. Digitally savvy. It said only 7% of the executives in major companies are digitally savvy, and that means they have a perspective on the impact of I don't know, what was it? They of the emerging technologies on their business. You know, where's it going? And is anybody as a recruiter trying to be digitally savvy, having a vision of where the industry they're working in or recruiting itself going? Do you, Craig? You're kind of oriented like that. Do you have
Yes. You should be digitally savvy, because what your customers are trying to do is digital transformation, but they don't know what that means. And so very
Every
often,
company says it.
yeah, they
Yeah.
just say it. They say they're going to do digital transformation, which means they're going to get digitally savvy and bring innovation into their recruiting programs, their sales programs, their employee programs, and modernize things. That's really all it means. So you as a recruiter need to be on top of what digitally savvy means and what digital innovation is.
what does it mean in recruiting?
So in recruiting, you've got the old school process is an ATS that doesn't work very well. It's hard to search, post and pray, and then kind of a poorly structured recruitment team structure. When you're going to modernize that, you're going to take a light CRM with a light apply, which makes your application process much faster. You're going to have some automation built in to have touch points during the candidate journey. You're going to have some automation built into the onboarding process to make that faster. Just some technology plus the
Okay, when you
human
refer
connection.
to automation, so you're talking about automated pipeline stuff. Is that, you know, sending out these messages to people
Yes.
while they're waiting to find out what happens in the next step? Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about when you say automation? I don't know what it means.
That's correct. That's exactly right. So texting with candidates or automated emails, there's a tool called Onboarder that will help a hiring manager, recruiter, and candidate all get on the same page for onboarding. And you just build in all the steps and it automates everything, sends a link to the candidate that they can do through their phone.
Well, you know, I wanted to ask you so much about from agency recruiter. We're out of time. Does anyone have a burning question they want to ask Craig for the last 3 minutes, or do you want him to talk a little more about digital savviness? It's up to you guys. Anybody vote? Anybody want something? Do you want to talk a little bit more about digital savvy? You want to talk about yourself? What do you want to talk about for the last 2 minutes?
So let's hear about the digital marketing for agencies, for all agency recruiters for the most part, except for Alan.
We got
Yes.
another example here. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually working with a home healthcare agency right now, right? So they're recruiting nurses all over the place. And I have to show them kind of nuanced ways to find and attract nurses to their organization and fill their pipeline, right? To fill the top of the funnel. And one of the things I'm going to show them is how to search Instagram for nurses. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. And then not just how to connect with them, but possibly how to build out an entire Instagram account and tag them in photos that say we're hiring. Come
You
work
know, the
for
last
us.
time I searched Instagram for nurses, I wiped my search history straight afterwards.
Yeah, but how many
They're
people
there.
aren't us wipe their search history? But we
Yeah,
don't want to
you-
talk about
you've
which
lost
site
me.
you were searching for nurses.
You've lost me. Okay, so that means the show's ending on a confusing note. I wanted
you,
it to
Stephen.
end on a powerful
Michael P.
note.
Cox is busy looking up nurses now. I can see in
Okay,
his face.
you know what?
I'm about to go do my searches.
Next time you come back, okay, you're going to
Nurses
come
and
back now.
heels.
We're going to focus on agencies the whole time, how agency recruiters can use this automation. And we're going to get really down and dirty. Like Michael G. Cox tells us exactly what he does, how he has those video inserts and stuff like that. And you're going to grade his work and any other things. Okay, Craig?
Yes.
I want to
done.
thank Craig again for putting us on video. I want to thank Nick Livingston. I'm so happy to see him, although he look, I told him his hair is a good branding thing, so he goes and puts on a hat.
He doesn't even put it on forwards to say "hone it" on the front.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he copied Rich by turning it around.
And
No,
Craig,
I copied
posting,
Nick.
though.
He had the good hair. I had to copy Nick.
Hone it, Big Biller. Hone
if you
it,
guys
Big
don't,
Biller.
if you listeners have made it this far and you don't know who Craig is, you are dumb. And this is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for you. Go to
That's
fishdogs.com.
Sure.
Fishdogs.com and put a big dog just like he did on
Front page of your website.
yeah. Is this
There you
recording?
go.
You have to
It
borrow
is.
a dog.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're recording.